Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video for you. Today we're taking a look at a new Spyderco. It does come in this nice little pouch, and I wanted to show you that first off just because I really think that's a nice touch, and Spyderco doesn't often do that. Even their more expensive models rarely come in a pouch. They'll still just come in a Spyderco box, but they opted for the pouch with this one, and I definitely think that's a nice touch. Here is the knife itself. Now guys, this knife comes from a fairly popular lineage, so it's got a lot to live up to. All right, everyone knows the Slysz Bowie is this epically good knife. I mean, it's a little small for me, so I don't honestly get that excited about it, especially where the price point is these days. But the Slysz Bowie, the Techno, and the Techno 2 are all very popular Spydercos, and now we have sort of in that vein, we have the Spyderco Swayback. Oh, I guess I should add as well, the other Slysz design is the Spidey Chef. Okay, so now that we've gotten all that out of the way, this comes from a long lineage of very popular Spyderco models. This has a lot to live up to, and so for that reason, I think people probably built this up quite a bit in their minds, and I did as well. Okay, I've got to tell you, my bias on this is to love it because I really, really find this to be a beautiful design. Okay, so I am kind of giving away my bias here, but I think that is just a beautiful, clean, classy looking knife. I love the design of this knife. Really, really like it. And so, you know, maybe I'm going to be a little too forgiving with it. I know a few people out there who have been really, really disappointed with this knife. Now, I've only had a little bit of time to spend with it, okay? So my initial impression is actually quite positive, but maybe that'll change. Maybe, give me, a few weeks or a few days even, and maybe I'll agree with some of the detractors out there. But honestly, my initial impression is to be pretty stoked about this knife. Let's go ahead and tell you why for a number of reasons. First of all, specs. CTS XHP on this blade. I love CTS XHP. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, blade steels. Wharncliffe blade, hollow grind, beautiful mirrored stonewash. Take a look at that. Really, really nicely done. And again, let me go back to that hollow grind. I love hollow grinds. I would just wish all knives could be hollow grinds. I really, really find it's the best way to get performance out of a knife. And I like thicker blade stock. This is not super thick blade stock, but I like thick, heavy duty knives. And the best way I can find, or the best way, in my opinion, to get great performance out of those thick blades is to have a hollow grind. And really, even a thinner blade stock like this with a hollow grind is going to perform better. If you'd put a flat grind on this, it wouldn't cut as well as it will with a hollow grind. So I love hollow grinds. I love the finish. I love the blade shape. I love just the overall little touches here. So we've got this hollow grind, we got a top swedge, a little bit of flat there. So there's enough detail here to make this interesting. You can see the maker's mark over there, and let's see, it's a Taichung knife, and somewhere here it should say, yeah, right there. There you go, CTS XHP. So very, very nice, very attractive blade. Moving over here to the handle and the lockup, we've got a lock bar insert, which is nice to see from Spyderco. Sometimes they, for some reason, neglect that. We've got phosphor bronze washers, and the smoothness on this, guys, I have to comment. Again, when I first opened this up, it's truly surprising. This feels so, so good. Very, very nice action. They did do one thing that initially I looked at and wasn't in love with. Let's see if I can show you guys. Yeah, you can probably see. Okay, so you can see the stop pin in there is an internal stop pin. Can I show you the track that it's riding in? I'm not sure. You can just sort of see the track there. I don't have a flashlight in my pocket at the moment. I took it out a couple minutes ago. Anyway, titanium frame lock construction, very, very nicely finished titanium handle there. Look at that finish. I just love the way that's done. Standoff construction, typical Spyderco clip, lanyard hole there. Now it's a fairly small lanyard hole, and it does have a reversible clip. Now I've got to say, I do need to make this comment because my initial thought, this is a right-handed knife for sure. You are pretty much only opening this with your thumb. If you're left-handed, I actually have tried a couple of different ways to try and get this open, and left-handed, I just can't do it. So I know people who are left-handed are going to be more dexterous with their left hand than I am, but as far as I can tell, this is not a left-hand friendly knife at all, so they probably could have left that off. If you're a lefty and you're watching this, go ahead and comment down below, especially if you've tried to open one. If there's a way that I'm just not figuring out, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. But back to the overall specs. So nice stonewash on the titanium, Torx construction, phosphor bronze washers that are fairly small, okay? Although I wouldn't consider this to be a heavy duty or hard use knife or anything like that. But I do like the bigger, more stable phosphor bronze washers, like what you find in a Chris Reeve knife. Okay, so those are all the features. And I have to comment that in terms of deploying this knife, it's very, very smooth, incredibly smooth. So I'm pretty impressed by that. Size and weight on this, 8 and 3/32 overall. Okay, so that's a little less than 8 and 1/8 inches. 3 and 9/16 on the blade, so a little over 3.5 inches. 4.5 inch handle, 4-inch grip area. Okay, now kind of an odd grip area here. You can see how obviously the swayback starts to come up there, and that does, people have complained about the ergonomics. If I get my hand on this just like this, it actually feels fine. Obviously, it'll take me some time and I'll have to get into some cutting tasks and stuff before I can make any real meaningful comments on the ergonomics. And the weight on this is a very nice 3.8 ounces. All right. So, what would I think about this? I can see why some people, and there were a couple of people that I kind of converse with regularly online and on Facebook that got this and were immediately put off by it. And I can see why that happened, especially if their expectations were kind of built around the Slysz Bowie and the Spidey Chef. Spidey Chef, by the way, I'm not a huge fan of. It's okay, but it's not, I don't know, I feel like it's an overhyped knife. Anyway, this knife definitely probably got a little more hype, and people, just seeing another Slysz design got super stoked, and when it wasn't exactly what they were hoping for, some people were disappointed. It actually doesn't bother me yet. After, again, a month of playing with this, maybe I'll change my mind, but the thumb deployment only is fine at this point. Again, maybe I'll get just sick of this and I'll be like, well, since I can't Spidey flick it, I'm not going to carry it anymore. Maybe. By the way, it just so happens that when I picked this up, my EDC for the day, being that it's Tanto Tuesday when I'm recording this, I don't think it'll post for a couple days, but anyway, when I was recording this, Tanto Tuesday, and so the Inkosi was in my pocket, and there's definitely a similar flavor here. They're not really similar knives, but certainly that minimalist design, that function over form, just keeping things clean and plain and a little bit ordinary, kind of aesthetic here, and I do appreciate that. So let's kind of wrap this up with my initial thoughts. Okay, again, my initial thought, I kind of gave it away at the beginning. I like this quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with it. That said, I can understand why some people aren't in love with it right away. The clip, okay, I get that. The lack of ability to Spidey flick, I get that as well. I do like Spidey flicking my knives. I do that with a lot of knives. So I understand some people's apprehension along those lines. But I have to say, overall, I am pretty stoked about this knife. I think it's beautiful. I think the blade grind is fantastic. And the blade alone is almost enough to just sell me on this knife. It's really, really good. But in addition, the ergonomics are at least okay. And, I consider this more of a gentleman's knife anyway. I'm not planning to take this out in the bush and survive with it or anything. So, ergonomics become not quite as critical. If this was an 80-10, that's a different application. But my overall thoughts is, yeah, I like this a lot. It's pretty nice. I can see why not everyone is totally in love with it. But if you're looking for a really classy, really interesting knife that's a little bit different, that still, really checks a lot of boxes in terms of quality and fit and finish and style, then I think this is definitely a decent knife for you. Give me some time to carry this, use it, cut some stuff with it, see what I think of it over a few months, and I will come back with the full review. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss that. And I got this over at White Mountain Knives. You can use my discount code SHARPSTUFF to save yourself 10% off this knife. And I did actually check before the video. They had some in stock. I almost hate to say it because this isn't going to post today, but hopefully when this video posts, that will still be the case. Thanks for watching. Again, like and subscribe. This background, by the way, I'm still loving it. I hope you guys are too. We'll talk to you later.